Have you ever felt so stuck that you felt like this is it? I can't move forward. There's nothing left for me. Have you been so covered in what feels like a blanket of hopelessness and discouragement that you did not even know where to turn and how to find any help? In this video, I'm going to share with you why the concept of just do the next thing. Well, do what lies nearest. Well, just do it. Why those things don't work. In this world that's full of gurus right now, everybody is coming and giving you an opinion, giving you what seems like the next step for you. But here's one thing they don't realize. They don't remember what it's like when they were in the middle of that thing, when they were still covered in tears and they were in the mess. And how if the concept of just do the next thing or just do it, if those things were so simple, none of us would be in messes. None of us would be stuck. So we're going to explore the one thing that will make the difference for you if you are in a position where you currently feel stuck. I remember this like it was yesterday. Sitting in my small closet. I had shut the door. I was falling apart. I was sitting in my closet on a pile of mess. That place was so messy and it was so chaotic. It felt like it reflected my state of mind. And so I was sitting in this closet, bracing onto my knees, sort of in upright fetal position. And I was feeling like a failure. I felt hopeless. I felt miserable. I felt overstimulated. My children were outside that door and they were calling for me and they were whining and they were on the verge of outbursts. But in that moment, all I saw was failure. In that moment, I could not handle what was going on anywhere around me except what was in my head. And I had to come face to face with me. I found myself sitting there thinking, I have failed at everything. And I was not used to failure because I was an A student at school. And everything I did, I tended to do it so well. But here I was feeling like a failure as a mother, feeling like a failure in my marriage, feeling like a failure in my career, which I had given up to take care of my children, and feeling like, is there nothing more to life than this? I felt like there was nothing left. There was nothing beyond this moment. And so much hopelessness overcame me. I wondered in that moment, is this really how the rest of my life is going to play out? All the years ahead of me in that moment seemed pointless if this is how it was going to go. And something had to change. That day, I realized nobody was coming for me. No one was coming to rescue me. There was not going to be a Clark Kent that came into my closet and saved the day. The only hero in that story, in my story, had to be me. I was that fallen hero. You know, in those hero movies, there is that scene where you know the hero is going to win, but right now they're losing. They're down. Maybe they've even forsaken their assignment as the hero and turned dark. You've seen those scenes play out and you go to watch the movie knowing that the hero is going to win. Otherwise, you wouldn't watch the movie at all. And so here I was in my life, looking at me, the hero, but as a failure. And when I realized that no one was coming for me, no one was coming to rescue me, my mindset shifted. Something was different. Something about that clicked in my life. I was like, no, nobody is coming. This is it. It's you, Annie. This is you. And in that moment, I started getting up, but first in my mind. My body was still depleted. It was still fallen. It was still in failure mode. But in my mind, when that switched on, I verbally started calling myself. I know some people are going to be like, that is so weird. Okay. But that's what it took for me. I started calling. I was like, Annie, get up. Annie, get up. And this is me, right? And my face is wet with tears. And I'm laying there and I'm saying these words, but I can't do it. And of course, the words are not coming out as clearly as I'm saying them to you right now. They're coming through the cries, through the trembling, broken, frail voice. And I'm saying, Annie, get up. Annie, get up. Get up. What are you doing here? Get up. I was coaching myself in that moment. I didn't know how. But have you ever been that friend? Have you been that person in everyone else's life that breathes life into them, that when they're down, you're like, no. Look around you. Look how awesome you are. But for myself, I had never been that person. I was just the victim. I was just fallen. I was broken. I was down. And I said, you know what? The same words, I realized that the same words that I speak to others, I could speak to myself in that moment because I needed to hear them. And remember, no one was coming for me. Have you ever found yourself having to talk to yourself? Maybe it was a pep talk. Maybe you were encouraging yourself to get through something, to finish something, to get out of bed. Maybe it was a pat on your back for yourself, saying, good job. Oh, girl, you did that. Whatever it may have been for you, have you found yourself calling to yourself as if to reestablish your identity? That's what happened for me that day. When I was able to speak my name and listen to it from the depths of my soul, from a place of power. Power that is not my own. Power that has been pre-given to me by God. Power that has been established in me as a human being to have dominion. Power for my purpose. Power for what lies nearest. But how do you just do the thing that lies nearest when you're not in a position, when you are in that closet moment? And I'm going to tell you exactly what you need. Many years ago, when I still lived in Southern Africa, we had someone come to live with us, and this young lady had been raised in an area where there was no electricity. So she was not familiar with the idea of turning on a light and cooking on an electric stove or any kind of electricity, really. She was raised in a very rural area and they used candles and lanterns. Great life, but just very different from city life. And so as she came to our house, you watched in amazed. We were amazed. She was amazed. Everyone was amazed because she watched us turn lights on, walk into rooms, and like lights would come on. And we would just do these things so subtly, we would do these things so naturally, so quickly, so thoughtlessly. We would just walk into the room, do the next thing, turn on the light. That was the next thing to do in a dark room. But we did not consider that because she was not familiar with electricity, she had not used a switch. She saw the bulb and she saw the light, but she had no idea. If I had said to her, hey, just go to that room, put your bags in there, there's a bed on the left, you'll see it, and the room is dark, she wouldn't have known what to do. She wouldn't have known how to maneuver in that room. outside of being given a candle. But if we didn't have a candle, then she wouldn't have access to whatever it is I was trying to give her in that room. And for her, the next thing, which was as simple as turn on the light, was so foreign, so far, so unfamiliar to her that it caused her to be so perplexed. What are these people doing when they walk into a room, and how does it get lit so quickly without seeing that our hands just go so automatically and switch on the light with no thought, with no calculation? It's because it was something that we saw and learned how to do. Are you seeing where I'm going with this? The concept of do the next thing always ignores the fact that when you walk into a dark room and you've never known electricity, you don't know how to turn it on. Be merciful to yourself in this moment. You don't know how to turn it on. You don't know how to get yourself up. If you've not been someone who's had the opportunity to coach other people through issues, you don't even know the first thing about getting yourself up. So this is not a video about getting yourself up. This is a video of why do the next thing doesn't always work. It doesn't. It does not. So you know what we had to do with this young lady? We had to realize that there were some gaps in information between us and her. We had information about electricity, about switches, about how they work, when they don't work, what to do with them to switch it out, to get a new one. And so we knew so much more than she did. But it wasn't just the information, because I could give her the information and say, hey, so walk into that room, turn on the light will come on, there's a switch, just flick it up. And yet that would not give her power to be able to get the transformation she needed when she walked into that room. Why? Because she didn't know where switches are. She didn't know that they're on the side of the wall by the door. Usually, if the door opens this way, it's usually on this side. If the door opens this way, it's usually on this side. It's about yay high, and you flick it up or down, depending on your culture, depending on your country of origin. She had no idea. So transformation was about taking her into the room, showing her, hey, so you see this little light here? Feel this thing on the side. If you push it up, the light comes on. Oh, is that in every room? Yes. Because if I had said it's on the wall, she may have had to walk around the room looking for something on the wall, a switch. What is a switch? What is a switch to someone who's not seen or handled electricity? A switch can mean something entirely different. A switch can be a spanking stick, right? In some cultures, they call it a switch. But I am saying this contrast just to emphasize that what you hear about do the next thing and the information you get about the next thing to do may not be moving your needle, because you don't need information. You need transformation. So we showed her how to turn on the lights, and she was able to know that if she walks into any room, I need you to understand this. Once she understood how to turn on a light, where the light was, she could walk into any room and within a few minutes figure out how to turn on the light. If you're struggling, feeling stuck, feeling hopeless, helpless, maybe even depressed, information hasn't been helping. Maybe you've even paid for information. Maybe you've paid for it with your attention. Like right now, you're paying for it with your time. You're seeking. You are ready to move to the next level because you're actually looking for help. But you haven't had transformation because you have not been shown exactly where, how, someone holding your hand, going through the process with you to show you where and how transformation happens. What you need may not be the statement, do the next thing. Yes, you can have it plastered on every wall in your house. And I'm not saying there's something inherently wrong with the statement itself, because once you know how to turn on the light, guess what you're going to do? You're going to do the next thing every time. You're going to walk into every room. You're going to walk into any other situation, and you're going to be empowered to make the changes in every aspect of your life. Once I got up out of that closet that day, I knew things were going to be different. But do you know what? While I was feeling like a failure in my parenting, and I had businesses that had failed, and I had marital issues, and I had every kind of issue, my closet was a mess. The very first thing that I needed to do in that moment was learn to make my bed every morning. So unrelated, it seems. But that's what I needed to do. That's the small step that I called myself out of and was able to implement in that moment. But do you know what that did for me? I was able to slowly start straightening up every other aspect of my life. Now, this did not continue without my share of coaching, without my share of learning, reading, studying, YouTube University, self-help, lots and lots and lots of prayer and quoting scriptures, promises stuck on my wall every day. But the very first step was in that call, in that get up moment, in me realizing that no one was coming to save me, in that I had to go and seek the transformation just like you're doing right now. And after I did that, I found the right people in every arena of my life to give me the transformation that I needed. So for my business, I have a business coach. And for my motherhood, for my parenting, to stay encouraged, to keep growing, I started listening consistently to content like Focus on the Family that was just giving me so much information for children in my age range and how to survive, not the children, but how to survive myself, how to survive the transitions that were happening in my life through the journey of motherhood. What's the area in your life that you've let yourself off the hook for too long? Maybe you haven't let yourself off the hook. Maybe someone let you down and they left you in a pile, in a corner somewhere, and your heart is still just so wounded, but you know this is not it. You know there has to be more. What's the area in your life that you are seeking for purpose, and you're seeking for your promise, and you just know that you are called to excel in this area, but it hasn't seemed to work so far? Maybe like me, you've waited for a hand that's not coming. And that's not to say God has forsaken you. No, He's there and He has called your heart. But there's more. You need to take hold of that power and turn it into potential energy, and then turn it into kinetic energy and go with it. You need to put the movements into the scene, like the hero who finally gets up off the floor after being punched for way too long, and he remembers his why. He remembers his reason. She remembers her children. She remembers what she's supposed to be doing right now instead of laying in a messy heap. and she calls out to the hero inside. The hero that's already ordained to have dominion over any sort of mess and principality and power of darkness and situation and problem and marital issue and health issue and financial issue and just issues, just like that hero. He gets up, she gets up, I got up and started throwing my punches, just one at a time. The first one, weak, barely doing anything, making my bed every morning. Everything else was still a mess, but my bed was made. And slowly the punches compound against the enemy, against the situation, the circumstance. And as you get stronger, bolder, and you see that it's working, no matter how small, you become empowered to do more. Please don't feel like you have to do this by yourself, because just like the young lady who did not know how to turn on the light, you may not know how to get up. And this is the one thing that makes the difference. It makes a huge difference. Get yourself, find yourself, locate, search until you identify a guide, a leader, a teacher, a helper, a community, an accountability partner, a friend, a family member, a pastor, a counselor, a therapist, and anybody, a book, something, anything that's going to help you just get up those first few steps, that's going to walk you through that door and show you that, hey, the switch, it's this little thing and it's about yay high on every wall. If you open the door and the door opens this way, it's usually on this side, and you just flick it up and on turns the light. That's transformation. And you deserve transformation. You deserve change. You deserve change. You deserve change in your health. I love to talk about health, hormones, mindset. Okay, so by the way, when I mention the word hormones, I just do it because people are familiar with it, but hormones are body chemistry. Hormones determine your mood, and they determine your fitness levels and or your energy levels to become fit. Somebody out there doesn't know that the reason they have trouble getting out of bed every morning, the reason they're carrying so much midsection weight, the reason they have so much hair growing on their face as a woman, the reason they have hair falling out of their head as a woman, and they're anxious and they're depressed and they're tired and they feel helpless and they can't sleep well at night, may just be a hormonal imbalance. It may just be your chemistry. It may not be that you need more information on how to exercise. It may not be that you need more information on what time to eat, or, on these mantras and these affirmations, and you need to pay somebody to speak words into your life that only God and His Spirit can speak to your soul. You may not need that. You may just need a coach, a guide who says, hey, your cortisol is out. And if you eat this, and if you drink this, and you put your life on this kind of schedule, it'll help your own body to be empowered to get yourself back in balance. Hey, your testosterone, hey, your insulin is out. Hey, your progesterone is out. Your estrogen is out. And all these things that people learn through their own experience, through their own knocking against a wall for results, through misinformation and paying so much money out for people just to tell you the same thing over and over again. Just do it. Just turn on the switch. Just turn on the switch. Where is the switch? Where is the switch? What is the switch? What is the switch? I hope you will do the one thing. Find a voice that resonates with you. You will find the person that has been put in this world, on this internet landscape by God for you. Pray about it. And once you find that guide, you will experience transformation. And I pray that this video blesses you. And if you know someone who desires some transformation in their life, maybe they don't desire it because they don't know that it exists. Maybe they too are stuck and they feel hopeless. So, you know what? Send them this video. And if you're not sure, send them the video anyway. If it resonates with them, they'll watch it. If not, they won't. And so none of us lose anything, right? And I will ask you to please leave a comment, leave an encouraging word for someone that's going to come to this video, and let them know that they're seen. Thank you. I will see you in the next video. Bye.